What happens if you invest €100 every month? Imagine this. It's the 28th of the month. You open your bank account and see that you have €143 left. The rent is paid. Your bills are covered. You've bought food. And then you think, I could invest €100. But then another thought appears. What is €100 actually going to do? So you decide to wait. Next month you'll start. Then next month arrives, and something happens. An unexpected expense, a dinner, a repair, a trip, a subscription you forgot about. And suddenly 5 years have passed. You haven't invested a single euro. Now imagine a different version of your life. In that version, €100 automatically leaves your bank account every month. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to make a decision. You simply invest. After 1 year, you have contributed €1,200. After 5 years, €6,000. After 10 years, €12,000. But here's the thing. Assuming an average annual return of 7%, those €36,000 contributed over 30 years could potentially grow to around €113,000 before taxes and fees. And that completely changes the question. The question is not, can €100 a month make me rich? The better question is, what could €100 a month become if I give it enough time? My name is Grace, and I spend way too much time thinking about how small financial decisions can completely change your future. If you want to invest, but feel like you don't earn enough, always run out of money before the end of the month, or believe that €100 a month can't make a meaningful difference, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button if this video helps you. Because today we're answering one simple question. What actually happens if you invest €100 every month? And the answer is much more interesting than you might think. The first year, the most boring part. Let's start with the simplest example. You invest €100 every month. At the end of the first year, 100 times 12 equals €1,200. Now let's assume your investments achieve an average annual return of 7% over the long term. That does not mean you will make exactly 7% every year. Some years you might gain 20%, other years you might lose 15%. The market does not move in a straight line. The 7% figure is simply a mathematical assumption to demonstrate how compound growth works. After 1 year, you might have roughly €1,240. And honestly, that probably won't feel very impressive. You contributed €1,200. Your investment only generated around €40. This is where many people give up. They expect investing to be a magic machine. They put in €1,200 and expect to see €10,000. But investing doesn't work that way. Investing at the beginning is like planting a tree. You water it, you wait, you water it again. And for a long time, it looks like nothing is happening. But underneath the ground, roots are growing. That is what happens during the early years of investing. You are not trying to become rich in your first year. You are trying to become the type of person who invests consistently. And psychologically, that is a huge change. You stop being someone who will invest someday, and you become someone who invests. That identity is more important than people realize. The first psychological shift. Now, maybe you're thinking, but I can't afford €100 a month. And sometimes that is absolutely true. If investing €100 means you can't pay your rent, buy food, or deal with an emergency, then you need to build your financial foundation first. But often the problem is not that people cannot find €100. The problem is that the €100 disappears before they ever get the chance to decide what to do with it. If you earn €2,000 and wait until the end of the month to see what is left, you are hoping that your future self will be disciplined. And usually your future self is tired, stressed, and looking at a bank account with €37 in it. This is why automation matters. You get paid, the €100 leaves automatically, and then you live on what remains. Because if you wait until you feel rich before you start investing, you might wait forever. This is also why lifestyle inflation is so dangerous. You earn €2,000 and you spend €2,000. Then you earn €2,500 and somehow your life starts costing €2,500. Then you earn €3,000 and suddenly you have €3,000 worth of expenses. Your income rises, but your financial position barely changes. The goal is to make sure that at least part of every increase in income goes towards your future. After 5 years. Now let's move forward. 5 years. You invest €100 every month. You have contributed €6,000. With an average annual return of 7%, you could have approximately 7,160 euros. That means around 1,160 euros comes from investment growth. And this is where something important begins to happen. At first, almost all of your wealth comes from your contributions, but slowly your money starts contributing too. Think of a snowball. At the beginning, you are pushing it. It is small. It barely changes. But as it rolls, it picks up more snow. And eventually, the snowball becomes large enough that its own size starts making a bigger difference. That is compound growth. Your gains generate more gains, and those gains generate even more gains. This is what most people don't realize. Compound growth is not very impressive at the beginning. It becomes impressive later, and that is exactly why so many people never benefit from it. They want 30 years of results in 30 days. The story of Anna and Carlos. Imagine two people. Anna starts investing 100 euros a month at age 25. Carlos starts at age 35. Both invest until they are 65. Anna invests for 40 years. Carlos invests for 30. Both invest exactly 100 euros per month. Anna contributes 48,000 euros. Carlos contributes 36,000 euros. The difference in contributions is 12,000 euros. But using a 7% average annual return, Anna could end up with roughly 260,000 euros, while Carlos could end up with around 122,000 euros. The exact figures will vary depending on actual returns, fees, taxes, and timing. But the principle is what matters. Anna contributed only 12,000 euros more, yet she could end up with more than 100,000 extra. Why? Because her money had an additional 10 years to grow. Time does not simply give you more opportunities to contribute. It gives your money more time to produce additional money. And that is why starting early can be more powerful than trying to find the perfect investment. After 10 years. Now let's go to year 10. You have contributed 12,000 euros. With an average annual return of 7%, you could have approximately 17,300 euros. Now something psychologically strange starts happening. Your investments can sometimes grow by more than you contribute. You contribute 1,200 euros per year, but if your portfolio reaches 20,000 euros and grows by 10%, that is 2,000 euros of growth. Your money is beginning to work harder than your contributions. And here is where it gets really interesting. You do not need to double your contributions to double your wealth. As your portfolio grows, the same percentage is applied to a larger amount of money. If you have 1,000 euros and earn 10%, you make 100 euros. If you have 10,000 euros and earn 10%, you make 1,000 euros. The percentage is the same. The difference is the size of the base. That is why building the first 1,000 euros can feel so difficult. You are doing almost all the work yourself. But later, your money begins to participate. You will not always make money. Now we need to talk about something many investing videos ignore. You will not make money every year. The market will not look like this. Year 1 plus 7%. Year 2 plus 7%. Year 3 plus 7%. That would be convenient. But it is not reality. Some years your investments may fall. You could contribute 1,200 euros and end the year with less than 1,200 euros in your account. And this is where many people make their biggest mistake. They buy when everything feels safe. Then the market falls. They panic. They sell. And later, when prices rise again, they buy back in. They buy high. They sell low. Then they say, investing doesn't work. But sometimes the biggest problem is not the investment. It is the investor. Imagine buying a house for 200,000 euros. 1 month later, someone tells you it is worth 180,000 euros. Would you immediately sell the house? Probably not. But investment apps show you the value of your portfolio every minute, and your brain starts reacting. Should I sell? What if it falls more? What if I lose everything? This is why investing regularly can help psychologically. You do not need to predict the perfect moment. You invest every month. When prices are higher, your 100 euros buys fewer units. When prices are lower, your 100 euros buys more units. This does not eliminate risk. It does not guarantee profits. But it reduces the pressure to make an emotional decision every time the market moves. And that matters. 100 euros isn't enough. Now maybe you're thinking, okay, but 100 euros a month isn't enough to make me wealthy. And you're right. 100 euros a month probably won't make you a billionaire. But that is not the right question. The better question is, what happens if you start with 100 and increase the amount over time? You start with 100 euros. Then you receive a pay rise. You increase it to 120. A few years later, you earn more. You increase it to 200. Then 300. Now you are no longer investing 100 euros forever. You are allowing your investments to grow alongside your income. And this is why the most important number is not necessarily how much you invest today. It is whether you are building a system that can continue for decades. It is better to invest 100 euros for 10 years than to invest 500 euros for 3 months and quit. Investing is like exercise. Going to the gym once will not transform your body, and investing once will not transform your financial life. Wealth is usually built through repeated actions. The most important effect is not in your account. Here is the part I think is most important. When you invest 100 euros a month, you are not only building a portfolio, you are becoming a different person. You start learning how markets work. You experience market declines. You learn how fees work. You become more aware of your spending. You may start looking for ways to increase your income. And when your income rises, you already have the habit. The 100 euros is the starting point.
It does not have to be the final amount. The person who starts investing 100 might eventually become someone who invests 300, 500, or 1,000 euros per month, but none of that happens if you never begin. What actually should you do? First,